Yo, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give call halal Yahweh, Bahashem, Hamashiach, wa Malak Yahweh Shah, for giving me the spirit and power to do this lesson. All right, so what we're going to talk about today, what we're going to deal with is the physical and the spiritual side of bearing your own cross. Right? Yahweh Shah bared his cross physically, right? He bared his own cross physically. This is a real thing, man. People overlook how to, like, what the Lord was going through bearing his physical cross, man. And the Lord he dealt with what we deal with on a daily basis. So what we dealing with now it could not be compared to what Yahweh Shah went through, man. All right, so I just want to touch on this cross, man. I have to, man, so we can get the understanding on how important this is, man. So one first thing first, the cross is a painful and humiliating, gruesome way to torture someone. This is what the ancient Greeks and Romans did, right? But now in modern day, we get crucified, we get put on a cross through the spirit, right? By the things that they make us do, by the ways that they treat us, the things that they make us go through on a daily basis, man. Every time something bad goes wrong, they blame it on us, even though it's systematic. But it, like this is something we have to consider, man. This all goes back to the cross, right? And think about it like this: you was given another opportunity at the Father. If Yahweh Shah didn't do that, you got to think of it like we would be going through all of this for nothing. That's something we have to consider, right? But getting back to it, they would nail 7-inch nails into your forearms, your hands, or your feet. Well, the feet was mandatory. The arms and the hands was optional. Your forearms or your hands. And you sit here and think like, which one would I pick? Your forearms? Nah. Your hands? Nah. Because you got to understand when you nailed on your hands, I'm just giving you the details of it. How Yahweh Shah suffered. When you nailed his hand, when they nailed his hands, and anybody, because that was a common thing back then, right? Even in 70 AD, when they sacked Jerusalem, as many people as they could catch, they nailed them to crosses. They tied them to crosses. Men, women, and children. The Romans loved doing that. There's a count where the Romans literally, because there's a law that was in ancient Rome, is if the slave master ended up dead, they would crucify every single last slave, no matter what they was. And there was a certain account where there was 400 servants, and most of them was women and children, and they had to take it to court. And the Senate overruled it, man. They overruled it because they didn't want to, but it was overruled, and all of those women and children were crucified, man. Crucified, nailed to a cross. Little children nailed to a cross. Women nailed to the cross. So this is spiritually we all go through this, man. But dealing with these 7-inch nails, when you nail your hands into that board, your body is weighing you down. So your body weighing you down and you being nailed by your hands is putting pressure on your hands, right? You have to look deeper inside of it, right? And it's described because I did a little research on the crucifixion, how it was operated, the science behind it, and they said like when they nailed those 7-inch nails into you, they said it's like lightning going through your hands and your forearms, like lightning. This is how they describe it. Nobody wants to get hit by lightning, man. Right? Imagine him putting a nail to your forearm, getting a hammer, and just hitting it as hard as he can, make sure it goes through. And we ain't talking about no damn brand new nails, man. We talking about old rusted nails. You're not worthy of a new nail. You worthy of a nail that's already had blood on it, already had rust on it. Somebody's already been crucified with it, which causes health problems, sepsis, right? And I have this definition pulled up. I have a couple of definitions pulled up what it caused. I'll pull up my screen. This is what it caused, man. It's called sepsis. All right, sepsis. It says an infection of the bloodstream resulting in a cluster of symptoms such as a blood and a drop pressure, increase in heart rate and fever. right? So the point is an infection of the bloodstream, because those nails cause things like gangrene, which they wasn't calling it back then. This is just what that was, gangrene, right? But it was in different other kind of bacterial infections that was in the bloodstream, right? That it caused. And you think they was taking you to a doctor? You think they was going to try to heal you? Let's get some images of sepsis. Sepsis. I'm pretty sure it's unbearable to see, but this is a result of sepsis. This is what happened when rust hits your breaks your skin. When rust breaks your skin, this is what it looks like. And the worst one by far is either this one, yeah, or this one. This is sepsis. This is what happens when rust breaks your skin, right? So this is one of the things that you have to worry about being on that cross. And remember, sometimes it takes 2-3 days for you to die on that cross. The only reason why you would have a fast death is if they shattered your legs and your feet. And that's to help you die faster. Right? So this is another one that it caused. Arrhythmia, a condition characterized by abnormal heart rhythm. This may result in either too fast or slow heart rate, right? From being up there, they about to put that nail on your forearm and you just sitting there, your heart just start beating out his chest because it's about to be painful, man. And it causes, this is a health problem that it causes. And they knew that, right? It says, though some people may not feel anything wrong, most will be able to detect the sensation. Arrhythmia beats are uncomfortable. They can feel like your heart is beating out of your chest, up your throat, and can conclude palpitations, which feel like you have immense stage fright when you are, in reality, perfectly calm otherwise. So this is before that nail even goes into your arm. You have something called arrhythmia, right? And you can die from that. It's like cardiac arrest. Here's another one. Asphyxia. And this is where you start losing air, right? From being on that cross, man. It's not just like when we look at the cross, we just like, oh yeah, he died on the cross. No, you got to think of the things they were suffering from being on that cross. Let me nail you to your wall, in your living room. And let's see how long you can stay up there. So I'm only bringing this out because we have to understand how serious it is, him dying for us, and how serious we have to be on this journey. We have to be serious. Yahushua lost things. You have to lose things. Yahushua went through stuff. You have to go through stuff. And Yahushua already told us what we was going to go through, all the way up until death. John 16:1. It says, asphyxia, the failure or disturbance of the respiratory process brought about by the lack of insufficient of oxygen in the brain, right? It says the unconsciousness that results sometimes leads to death, right? And it gives us some examples, right? Suffocation, choking, right? Respiratory system or the throat. But man, just imagine being up there and you can't breathe, man. And you have to die that way. That's what the Lord was going through, man. Why do you think he cried out, Abba, why have you forsaken me? Because it was painful as fuck. All right, this is another one. It's called acidosis, a condition in which there is excess acid in the body fluids, right? It causes rapid beating, confusion, tiredness, headache, jaundice, and includes increased heart rate. So this is where your body is being stretched out, right? Like I said, when your hands and your forearm is nailed to the cross, your body is weighing itself down. So it's causing body fluids to pour out into other parts of your body. This is real, man. And the same thing, rapid beating, rapid breathing, like we just read in arrhythmia, confusion, right? Tiredness. So you up there tired, you just want to be put down, but you're not coming off that cross. Headache. Imagine having a headache on top of you being crucified. Jaundice and increased heart rate. And that goes back to asphyxia, like we just read. All these tie into each other, man. And all these are painful ways to go out. Right? But this is how our Lord went out. So this is how we have to go out through the Spirit. Because all of those conditions we went through, we still go through these things. We still get tired. We still get infectious diseases, right? All of these. Still get headaches, tiredness, confusion, rapid breathing. We get all of that through the Spirit being in this truth, right? That insufficient oxygen. We get all of that still, man. It's just not a physical on the cross way of it. But the Lord told us that's why he says, take up your cross and follow me. This is only for strong men and women. It's only, man. That's why you see people dropping out the truth more than ever, right? But the Romans, it came from the Greeks, and I didn't even know. I had to go look into it, but we look at it like it comes from the Romans, but actually the Greeks was doing it first. We know they're the same people, but the Greeks was doing it first. And the Romans adopted it. That's why they call it the Greco-Roman Empire, Greeks and Romans. But they designed it where it wouldn't hit any major arteries. So they wanted you to hang up there alive. They didn't want to hit no major arteries. That's how they designed it. That's why nailed your hands. That's why they nailed your feet. They would literally shatter. When I say, I'm not saying break. When I break my leg, one part of my leg is broken. No, they would shatter your legs. They would break every piece of bone in your legs. Every little piece. They would just keep hitting it with sledgehammers. Doof, doof, breaking every piece. This is what the Romans did, man. Straight up. They would shatter your legs and feet, man, for a faster death. Right? And they would sometimes shame you by nailing your feet together with your legs wide open. And so your secrets can be showing. Why you on that cross? That was a sign of humiliation. Like straight up, man. This is something we have to, we have to consider. Because, like I said, we're going through this now, like these heavy ass burdens we have to deal with. Do you know how heavy that cross was? Man, that cross was 300 pounds. Imagine carrying 300 pounds. I'm going to tell you straight up, my max is like 160. And that's me hitting it like 5 times. But 300? Yeah, how wish I had to carry 300. That's why that man had to help him. He was carrying that on his back. That's symbolic. It happened physically, but that's symbolic for us. That's why he says, carry your cross and follow after me. That heavy ass burden. These people fucking hate us, man. Your own family hates you. They gonna play this game like they love you, but they hate you, man. They hate all of us. That's why Yahweh said, who is my mother and who is my brother? To give us comfort, to let you know that somebody does love you in this world, right? And that's why we do these lessons. That's why me personally, I'm gonna do these lessons and I'm gonna try to make it relatable, because we all going through the same shit, man. Every single last one of us. Same things. And I go over and over what we be going through, what we deal with. This is us bearing our cross, right? And sometimes we need help, just like Yahweh got help bearing his cross to his crucifixion, man. There's nothing wrong with help, man. But like I said, man, that cross was 300 pounds, man. And the Romans, they would always do this, man. This was so normal. They did it more than the Greeks did, and the Greeks is the one who came about with it. But it was created for the slaves. It wasn't created for Roman citizens, right? Like Paul. Paul wasn't crucified. Why? Because he was a Roman citizen, right? But Yahushua was a Jew. That's why he was crucified. Straight up, man. Just to show you the difference. They only did it to what they would call heathens, because they knew how gruesome, humiliating it was, and painful it was. So they wouldn't do they own people. They would like cut off their ear, or they would do stuff like that. But Jews, they would crucify you, man. Right? Paul was, or they would behead you. Paul was beheaded by Nero. He wasn't crucified like Yahushua was crucified, man. But like I said, it was a Roman law that if a slave master was killed, all slaves would be crucified. And like I said, there's an example. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just pull it up and show you, so you can see this is real, man. They crucified 400. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me pull this up, man. I'm talking about 400 men, women, and children. And they said over half of them was women and children. And the Senate didn't want to do it, but it was overruled. It was fucking overruled. And you think these people are different? Fucking crazy, man. Whoever love them say they can be saved, bringing that damn Gentiles doctrine. You crazy, man. You a nut. And you don't get it. But you will soon, because they're going to be ready to crucify your ass again. And that's facts. Salakia. Let me pull this up. It's horrible, man. Okay, where is it at? Right here. I was even like doing research, and like even Islam, they accepted it. Salakia. I don't want you to just be sitting there. All right, let me go back up to the top. Let me see. All right, let me share my screen. All righty, I cannot see it. Well, I'm gonna have to just type it in, because this is the first place I've seen it. And then I had to go look in deeper into it and see how factual it was. It says the victims of crucifixion were stripped naked and put on public display. That means for everybody to see them. Like, it's crazy, man. All right, so let me just do this. All right, so man, that's crazy. I can't find it now. It's definitely in there. I'm just probably overlooking it. Let me try this one more time. All right, so I guess I'm gonna just bring out these scriptures while I'm looking for this because I can multitask, right? So the first thing I want to go into, man, I want to show how Yahushua literally was crucified, and then we're gonna go into the spiritual side of it, right? So the first scripture I'm gonna go to is Isaiah 53, because this is where it was first spoke about his crucifixion and how painful it was gonna be, and how everybody was gonna act. It just gives us details his crucifixion before it actually happened, right? So this is Isaiah chapter 53, and I'm gonna start at 3. It says, "He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows." So this is talking about Yahushua. Everybody was despising and rejecting him, even his own mother and sister. That's why he had that situation where he was like, "Your brother and your mother stand over there. They don't want to speak to you." And he said, "Who is my mother and who is my brother?" So everybody, most likely everybody despised him except the ones that that followed him, like the 12 and on down, right? So it says, "A man of sorrows, just like we are. We are men and women of sorrows." That's all we see is sorrows. We always wonder, when is a good day gonna come about? Where the good days at? But the good days come in the kingdom, man, and we gotta wait for it. You have to wait for it, right? It says, "And acquainted with grief, and we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised, and we esteemed him not." That means we did not uplift him. We always wanted to crucify him. Everybody always crucify him. They always, wicked scribes and Pharisees always tried to seek a way to kill him, man. That's all you see in the gospel. That's all you see in the gospel, man. Right? So it says, "Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows." How? On that cross. "Yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of God, and afflicted." Because if you go into Isaiah chapter 52 and you start at verse 13, that's when it actually starts about talking about Yahushua, how badly beaten he was, and so forth. It talks about how he was so badly beaten that you could barely recognize him. But I'm gonna keep going. It says, "But he was wounded for our transgressions." Remember, in the crucifixion, these Romans, they would beat you they would beat your ass senseless before they put you on that cross. They would beat your ass until blood was just pouring out of you. Then they would crucify you. Straight up. That's how they did it. Right. So it says, "He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed." So all of this was for you to be healed. Him going through all of these dangers, dealing with this cross that I just brought out, he did this all for us, man. And you got people out here that's mocking him, talking about he's an idol. You got all of this madness, and he died for them, man. Now, he died for the nation of Israel, but he only prayed for that 1/3, that elect that was given to him from the Father, right? And that's what he talks about in John 17. He says, "I pray for them. I pray not for the nation of Israel." The word is world. But we know that word goes back to cosmos, which means the Israelites. He said, I died for the nation of Israel, but I'm not praying for the whole nation of Israel. I'm only praying for the ones you gave me. John 17, read it. Right? It says, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord have laid on him the iniquity of us all. That's why his death was so damn painful. Yahushua was going through it since he was a young kid, man. He grew up in the hood. He grew up being, threatened. They wanted to put him to death for what we would say today, the dumbest shit. Straight up. But back then it was that serious. He got beat half to death. He got lied on, spit on. They put a crown of thorns on his head. They crucified him. All of that, man, was put on him for our wickedness, for the shit we did. So yes, I'm going to follow this man. I'm going to follow the Lord, man. And that's just what it is. And you should have that same mentality. No matter what and who you got to lose, you should be like, I'm following the Lord, man. Everybody don't have that mentality, believe it or not. Everybody does not have that mentality. But it's not for everybody. Straight up. So I'm going to keep going. It says, and this is the point. He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth. And when it says open not his mouth, we know the Lord opened his mouth. He prophesied. He spoke. He broke down the scriptures, right? It's talking about he didn't complain what he went through. Only thing you heard Yahushua say is, Abba, Abba, why have y'all forsaken me? You didn't never hear about him complaining on what he had to go through. He even, he knew verily what he was going through. And he prayed that the Lord take the cup away from him. But he didn't complain about what he had to go through. This is the example that we have. This is the example that we have. It says, yet he opened not his mouth. He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter. Right? Think about that. A lamb to the slaughter. We're all lambs, but brought to the slaughter. A lamb does not have no wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that he's about to be killed. That's the analogy that's given. He knew he was about to die, but he still went. Straight up, man. A sheep, they'll hear a big ass buzzsaw machine going, and they'll still walk up to it. Straight up, man. That's just what it is. It says, and as a sheep before her shears is dumb, so he opened not his mouth. So it's telling you again, he didn't complain. They're clarifying. Isaiah is clarifying that he didn't complain. It says he was taken from prison and from judgment, right? Because we know he was put in a prison. That's why Pontius Pilate said, do you want us to release him or do you want us to release Barabbas? And they said, give us Barabbas. Right? It says he was taken from prison and from judgment, and who shall declare his generation? Right? Because remember, he said, this generation shall not pass until all things be fulfilled. Straight up. Lock you. All right, it says, for he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken. You understand that? For the transgression of Israel, Yahushua got stricken. That means he got his ass whooped for what we did, right? And people still walk around here prideful, do whatever they want to do. These people do whatever they want to do, man. Not even considering what's about to happen to them for that, because Yahweh ain't letting you get away with that. You think he gonna send his son down here to be done like that just so you can do whatever you want to? Because that's what the world thinks. He went through all of this just so you can do whatever you want to. If that was the case, he could have just not came and let you do that. Don't be simple, man. It says, and he made his grave with the wicked, right? Because he died with those men that was on the cross. One was stealing and another one did something else. right? So basically, he didn't want to make himself above, his people, even though we know he was, right? That's why they asked him, why do you eat and drink with the publicans and sinners? Why do you think he was calling himself the Son of Man and not the Son of God? Now, he did call himself the Son of God, but he was more set on the Son of Man. It says, and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was there deceit in his mouth. And this is the way we have to move, man. All right. It says, yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. So it pleased Yahweh to do what he did to Yahweh Shah. How much more these wicked ass people out here? Bro, man, we say this too much. You have no idea what the Lord is about to put you through in Jacob's trouble. You have no idea. All that sitting around doing nothing, fighting with your spouse, talking about each other, stealing still, committing adultery. You trying to justify why you committing adultery. You got your perfect excuse in your head. But the scriptures already tell you the Lord knows your thoughts. You giving your spouse all this hell. You're supposed to be the pillar of rest. And it goes for the men too. You're supposed to give your wife hell. You ain't teaching your children nothing about the Most High. But then, yeah, you're going to be saved. Niggas breaking the Sabbath like it ain't nothing. Here it is. The world say every day is the Sabbath. Okay, so let's say every day is a Sabbath. Why are you buying and selling every day then? That means you breaking the Sabbath every single day. If every day is the Sabbath. Use your brain. It says the Sabbath is on a 7th day. If you change that, you are saying what God set in order wasn't good, like he said in the beginning. That's what you're saying. So imagine what he's about to do to them, though he did this to Yahushua because of how mad he was at the nation of Israel. So those ones that the blood is not covering them, imagine what he's about to do to them. They're going to be their own sacrifice. All right. It says, yet it pleased the Lord to bruise him. He had put him to grief when thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, for our sins, the nation of Israel. Acts 5. It says, he shall see his seed, he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of the Lord shall prosper in his hand. And that's something we have to consider. Right? And I can stop right there. But matter of fact, let's keep going. It says, he shall see of the travail of his soul and shall be satisfied. By his knowledge shall my righteous servant justify many. Because it tells you that in Romans chapter 8. A lot of people the Lord is going to justify through the blood of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. But if he didn't go through that pain and suffering, like I said, we would be going through all of this for nothing. It says, for he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore, I will divide him a portion with the great. Revelation chapter 5. He got everything. Therefore, will I divide him portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoil with the strong. Right? And this is talking about the other men, his disciples first, and the men that's under those men. Right? He's going to divide the spoil, and they're going to be great right along with the Lord. Because Yahweh, one thing about him, no, that's not say one thing. I can point out something that's about him. He is not stingy. He said he will give you what he was given to him in Revelation chapter 5 and 8. It tells you everything he was given. I believe it's 5 and 12. It shows you everything he was given. Riches, honor, glory, wisdom, power. Everything was given to him. And he's going to share that with you if you take your cross and follow after him. But we're not going through that physically. We're going through this spiritually. But before we get to the spiritual side, I want to get the account of Yahweh Shah and what he went through. All right, so this is Matthew chapter 20 and 18. It says, behold, we go up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Man, see, like I said, he wasn't calling himself the Son of God. He was calling himself the Son of Man. That's humility. He said, the Son of Man shall be betrayed unto the chief priests and unto the scribes, and they shall condemn him to death. Now we have to consider the Lord told us in Luke that our own family members would do the same thing to us. And like I said last night, if Yahushua is the first person on this whole entire planet to show It be your own people that do you that way. It be your own people. He is the first one on this planet Earth that clarified and verified that. It says, and unto the scribes, and they shall condemn him to death, and shall deliver him to the Gentiles to be mocked. Straight up, man. Which these Gentiles is Romans. And to scourge, and scourge means to beat, and to crucify him. And the third day he shall rise again. And that's something we have to consider. What we're going through, we're going to be raising up again at the last day when we called. But that's just only, me saying that is only for believers, man. Because everybody don't believe that. And we're going to see that everybody don't believe that. A lot of people are going to cop deuces, right, in that time when it's time to die, because they're going to be like, this is my only life. Not knowing, well, not understanding that the Bible already tells us, hey, I'm going to raise you back up. You're a sheep, go to the slaughter. If that's your lot, I'll raise you back up. It's nothing. Look, I did my son. I raised my son up. That's your assurance. Everybody ain't going to believe that, though. A lot of people going to fold. So this is Matthew 27 and 27. It says, and he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many of the remission of sins. Right? Like we just read in Isaiah. In Acts chapter 5, it says that also, the remission of sin. That's what it was all about. That's what Paul and Peter and all the apostles went on a journey teaching. It says, but I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the wine, of the vine, which is wine, until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. Straight up. And that's what we look forward to, bearing our crosses and following after him. A new heaven, a new earth, and new wine to drink with the Lord. This ain't for everybody, man. It says, and when they had sung a hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. Then said Yahweh unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night. You know what offended means? It means to lose faith. He says, for it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. Right? And that's exactly what happened. Right? It says, and we're not talking about the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings. Nah, it's talking about them being scattered as in dealing with different I'm not going to say religions. They're going to be scattered abroad as in they're all going to be so afraid. Like Peter, I give Peter an example. He was scattered. That's why he denied the Lord 3 times. Situations like that. And then they start, not the apostles, but today they start believing in all these religions. Like, Christianity did say God loved me regardless. That's another way of you being scattered. Because it tells you that in Ezekiel 36 that the pastor scattered his flock. That's talking about in different religions. So it's talking about some denying the Lord and some depending on something that they put away a long time ago. Right? So it says, verse 32, but after I will rise again, I will go before you into Galilee. Peter answered and said unto him, all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended. I'll never lose faith. And this is something we all can say right now, right? But we ain't even got to that point. Peter didn't even get to the point yet. He didn't get to the point where he could actually stand. Well, he did get to the point where he could stand behind it, but it was just all talk at this moment because it wasn't there yet. And this is something we have to consider too, man. We talk all this talk, but we so close to proving it. It says, Yahweh said unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. He said, you're going to deny me 3 times. It's going to get so spooky out there. It's going to get so scary. Imagine them putting to death your brother that you was on the highways and byways with every weekend, week in and week out, and you watching them put him to death. You know you next, especially if they can identify you. But if you could get out of that situation, you would. You would even have thoughts in your head like maybe he got put to death for something he did that I wasn't seeing. But let's be real here, man. Those kind of thoughts are going to be in your mind. It says, let's keep going. It says, Peter said unto him, 35, Peter said unto him, though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples. So they all was like, yeah, we're not going to deny you, Lord. But you got to ask yourself, who was there when he was crucified? It says, then cometh Yahushua with them unto a place, Gethsemane, and said unto the disciples, and I believe Gethsemane, I don't think it's the place about skulls, so I ain't gonna say that. It says, unto his disciples, sit ye here while I go and pray yonder. So he's like, sit here while I go pray. Let's see what he said. And he took with him Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy, because he knew his time was there. And you gonna know when your time is too. You gonna know, man. They're gonna be putting out Amber Alerts for you. You're gonna be all over the news. And we ain't talking about just the teachers that's out there. You clicking on them videos. You are a threat. They calculating every time you click on a Hebrew Israelite video, you a threat. You might as well jump your ass all the way in the water and get out there and show forth your boldness in the Lord. All right. It says, then said he unto them, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. So he's like, man, I'm tired. I'm afraid. That's what sorrowful means. He's scared and afraid. He says, watch, stay here with me, man. Stay here and watch while I go up here and pray. Because he knew it was his time. And like I said, you're going to know when it's your time too, man. It says, verse 39, it says, and he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And that's something we have to consider too, man. When you pray, you got to understand, if it's the Lord's will, that's what it is, man. You can't do nothing about it. And that's the point. If you're going to know, just like you're going to know when it's your time, you're going to know when it's the Lord's will, because no matter what you do, whatever that lot is, what you like, if you have to go to a FEMA camp, like if you have to get put to death, there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. That's how you're going to know it's your lot. So just take it. If your head is in that guillotine and you hear it coming down, it's your lot, brother. It's your lot, sister. That's your lot. But there's a reward, man. 1,000 years ruling with Yahushua HaMashiach in the kingdom. But like I said, I'm only talking to believers, man. Only to believers. All right, so let's get this. Let's go to let's get the other side of it. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 5, man. All right, so Hebrews chapter 5, and I'm going to read 8. All right, so this is Hebrews chapter 5 and verse 8. It says, though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things he suffered. This is talking about Yahushua. It says he learned obedience by the things he suffered. Now, if we're supposed to follow Yahushua HaMashiach, you're supposed to learn through the things that you suffer. You got to learn, man. No matter what you're suffering from, it's something to be learned from it. Straight up. And sometimes you don't understand. But sometimes it's just to make you stronger. But sometimes it's for you to learn and really understand what it is. You have to do diligent research. You have to examine. When I say diligent research, I'm talking about in the scriptures, what the Lord requires of you, how he's trying to make you strong, what chastisement is, what trials is, what tribulation is. Because that's all Yahushua right there. And if you following after Yahushua like you say, that's all you. Right? But it says he learned obedience. He learned to obey by the things he suffered. That goes for us. Right? Now, let me get this in Philippians. This is Philippians chapter 2 and 6. It says, who, being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God. And this goes into the powers, right? God goes back to Elohim, Elohia or Elohim, which means power or powers. It says, but made himself of no reputation. How? Because he called himself the Son of Man. That's what we just read in Matthew 20. It says he said the Son of Man will be crucified. It says, and took upon him the form of a servant, right? That's why he told us, he that is chief among you, let him become a servant. It says, and was made in the likeness of men, right? Came down here in the flesh. And being found in a fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, right? So we just read in Hebrews where it says he learned obedience through the things that he suffered. But it says right here, he was obedient even unto death. We just read how he prayed that the Lord take this cup from him. But obviously that's what the Lord wanted. We read that in Isaiah 53. It pleased the Lord to do that to him. Why? Because he wanted to do that to the nation of Israel. Right? It says, in being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. If that's your lot, now you're not going to be crucified, but you have to be obedient unto the death, which is being beheaded, because that's what the scriptures say, martyrs. The martyrs of Yahushua. The martyrs of Yahushua. Yahushua already warned us. He told us not to lose faith. He told us not to be offended. He says, if you go through this, he says, I will give you riches, glory, and honor in the kingdom. He said, I will share my kingdom with you that my Father gave to me. Matter of fact, let me just get it right quick. What Yahushua received in the kingdom. So this is Revelation chapter 5. Revelation chapter 5 and 12. It says, saying with a loud voice, worthy is the Lamb that was slain. We're going over now how he was slain. We're lambs too. We're sheep. It says that was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing. And you're going to receive the same thing if you bear your cross and follow after him, even unto your death, even the death of the cross. It says, wherefore God also hath highly exalted him and given him a name which is above every name. Every nation talks about who the world calls Jesus Christ, which his name is Yahushua. Everybody talks about him. Even atheists talk about him. Even atheists, when they're about to die, they pray in his name. Give a damn what you say. Whether they openly say it or they whisper it. And Anton LaVey, the man who created the Satanic Bible, is a perfect example of that. On his deathbed, who you think he was calling out to? Nigga did all this wickedness, but then the Most High showed him, like, yeah, that's what it is. You're gonna die. These people are so in their pride, they don't even think they're gonna die. They say things like, we're all gonna die. No, nigga, you have no idea how you're gonna die. You have no idea that the Lord is the one that's doing it to you. It's different when you find out that the Lord is the one doing it to you. That the Lord is seeking to kill you. Have you ever seen 1,000 Ways to Die? Well, the Lord created that. He has 1,000,000 ways to kill you. Straight up. From drinking water and choking on it to being burned alive, man. It says, verse 9, Philippians 2 and 9, wherefore God also hath highly exalted him and given him a name which is above every name, that at the name of Yahushua every knee should bow. And it tells you that in Revelation, when he come, everybody's going to see him, even the ones that pierced him. It says, and that every tongue shall confess that Yahushua HaMashiach is Lord. Everybody's going to confess that. Because everybody's going to be resurrected, whether it's to condemnation or it's to everlasting life. You're going to be resurrected. You're going to have to deal with Yahushua. Right? Because that's another thing. People think that they're going to die before the judgment comes. They have no idea, man. It says, and every tongue shall confess that Yahweh Shah Mashiach is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Wherefore, my beloved, that's it on that. So let's get the next scripture. I want to get this, man. I want to get this. Right? Let's stop right there. We can stop right there. So this is Romans chapter 6 and 5. It says, for if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, right? Yahweh Shah physically died on that cross. It feels like we are by the shit we go through here. And you know what's the saddest thing about it? You can't do nothing. What can you do? They already shown us in the world what people do to make money. They cross everybody that ever loved them. And then when they get it, they cry about how it's lonely at the top. Nigga, look what you did to get there. So that's not the way. You got to deal with it, man. And it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. So let me keep going. For if we've been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall be also in the likeness of his resurrection. Right? It says, knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him. So this is going into the crucifixion of you being a new person. Just like Yahweh Shah was resurrected and got a new body, you're supposed to be a new person. This is you living in the Lord. This is you taking your cross and following after him. Nigga, change. Change. These people don't want to change, man. These people so caught in their own ways, man. Like old people, man. They be 20 years old, stuck in their ways, man. We have to change. We have to bear our cross. Man, I got cut, and I'll bring the scripture out, man. I'll bring it out. I will cut myself right quick, just because that's how much I'm serious. I will cut myself. I was reading Luke yesterday. and I'm on the 6th. I'm on the 7th chapter now, but I read chapter 6. So Luke chapter 6 and where is it? 32. He says, for if ye love them which love you, what thank have ye? For sinners also love those that love them. It says, and if ye do good to them which do good to you, what thank have ye? For sinners also do even the same. And then I kept reading, and I dropped down, I read down to 46. And why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? So I struggle at this, because my mentality is, if you don't love the Lord, I'm not helping you. But the Lord is telling you right here, that's not how you're supposed to be. So that cut me. Right? So going back to Romans 6 and 5, if we have been planted together in the likeness of his death, we shall also be in the likeness of his resurrection. Knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. That's the whole point of following him. Why? Because he told us in John chapter 15 and 24. Let me get it. He told us in John 15, and 22. He says, if I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not sinned. But now they have no cloak for their sin. So you have no excuse of going off at all. The only thing, you have no excuse on going off, man. That's why he says you're supposed to be crucified with him, that the body you don't serve sin no more. Why? Because you have the perfect example on how to be righteous, how to be perfect. Only thing I do is just follow Yahweh Shah. And even Peter gave us an example of that. Let me get that. Even Peter gave us an example of that. All right, so this is 1 Peter chapter 1 and 18. Servants, be subject to your masters with all fear. Yahweh Shah is our master. Not only to the good and gentle, but also to the froward. So this is saying the same thing Yahweh Shah said. What good is it you just doing good to sinners? I mean, to people, that you're around. The sinners do that. Do good to people that don't know the Lord. That's what he's saying. He says, for this is thankworthy of a man for conscience toward God endure grief, suffering, and wrongfully. That's something we all deal with. It says, for what glory is it if when ye be buffeted, and buffeted means beat down, put hands upon, when you be buffeted for your faults. Because Paul was buffeted, and it shows you in 2 Corinthians, he was buffeted by Satan. It says, buffeted for your faults, ye shall take it patiently. But if when ye do well and suffer for it, ye take it patiently, this is acceptable with God. So it's one thing when you suffer for wrongdoing, but it's a whole different experience when you're suffering for righteousness. That's what it's saying. For even hereunto were ye called, because Hamashiach also suffered for us. We just got the example how the Romans did it, leaving us an example that we should follow his footsteps, follow his steps. So going back to Romans 6:6, knowing this, that our old man is crucified with him. So just like Yahushua was crucified on the cross, we're supposed to have been crucified, coming into the knowledge of who he really is and what he really came to do. That's when your crucifixion started of becoming a new man. And the reason why it's symbolic for a crucifixion, because of how hard it is. Not easy changing. Especially when you 24 years old, and then you have to undo 24 years worth of molding yourself to be a certain person. Right? So it says that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin. Right? Straight up. And that's something we have to consider on a day by day walk. So let me get this. So I can. So this is Mark chapter 8:34. It says, and when he had called the people unto him with his disciples also, he said unto them, whosoever will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. So he's clearly telling you all the shit that you wanted to do in the world. He says, deny it. All your goals that you wanted to do in the world, deny it. Let it go. It's done. This is if you want to follow Yahweh Shah, because you can't do both. Yahweh Shah is a big task, and you have to be focused on that one task when it comes to Yahweh Shah Mashiach. So he says, whosoever will come after me, let him deny himself. You got to ask yourself too, why is he saying that? Like, what would make him say that? Because it's a big task, and you got to understand, I have to be single. It says, whosoever will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Remember, that cross weighed 300 pounds. That's spiritual, as in you about to go through some heavy shit. It says, verse 35, whosoever will save his life shall lose it. You saving your life, you building a career, that's you saving your life. You're trying to be something here. You're not trying to suffer because you're looking at it like this is your only life. YOLO, you only live once. That's your mentality. That's you saving your life. The Lord said you're going to lose it. It says, but whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel's, the same shall save it. So you putting away all that stuff that you wanted, you counted it all dung, like Paul said. You getting rid of all of it, people, substance, whatever you have to get rid of. The Lord says you're going to save it. That means you're going to have things waiting for you in the kingdom. Treasures that do not rot and moth corrode. You're going to have these things waiting on you 100-fold. You're going to have these things waiting on you. But like I said, I'm only talking to believers. I'm only talking to believers. So let's get this one. Let's go back to this. All right, so Philippians 1:29. For unto you it is given in the behalf of Hamashiach, not only to believe on him. So that's where the Christian church come in. He says, for unto you it was given not only to believe on him, but also to suffer for his sake. So you got to suffer just like Yahushua suffered too, right? Look at the stuff that he suffered from. People calling them devils, right? They tried to justify and say he was wicked when he was the righteous man, most righteous man on earth. And here it is in the modern day. Some of these brothers are the most righteous men in this generation, and they are being deemed as the worst in this generation. So that's you suffering just like Yahushua Mashiach suffered. Straight up. Even his parents. That's why he said, your parents, one of his disciples said, your parents, your mama and your brother stand over there and they don't want to talk to you. He said, who is my mother and who is my brother? Straight up. So not only to believe on him, it's not just about belief. Belief is a big part of it, but it's to suffer as he suffered too, man. Now let's get this last precept. All right, so this is Matthew chapter 10 and 34. It says, I'm going to start at 33. But whosoever shall deny me before men, him will I also deny before my Father which is in heaven. That means you're not going to make it into the kingdom. It says, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. Because this is what the world says. Now we don't have to keep the law because Jesus came. Now we don't have to do this because Jesus died on the cross. Now we don't have to. That's called peace. The Lord says, think not that I come to send that. He says, I came not to send peace, but a sword. And you know what happens when a sword is in a play. It says, for I come to set at variance, and variance is differences. Right? For I come to set a man at variance against his father and against the daughter, against her mother, and against the daughter-in-law, against her mother-in-law. This is symbolic for everybody. That's why you had these, us being Hebrew Israelites believing in the whole Bible. They believe in religion. That's variance. Y'all fighting, bumping heads with each other. That's variance. That's differences. It says, a man and a man's foes shall be they of his own household. That's where it always starts. In your own house. Whether you're still living with your mama, your wife, your husband, you living with your favorite cousin, no matter what, that's going to come to a stop once you start believing in the Lord wholeheartedly. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Now we know the law tells you to honor your mother and father, but it's talking about when you put them over Yahushua Mashiach. Yahushua told you to do this. But if you be like, man, my mom, she ain't going to talk to me no more. She said I keep doing this. That's what he's talking about. You can't do that. Right? So he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. Because sometimes you gotta let that stuff go. You gotta let it go in the past. And that's not an easy task. Like I said, you got to keep your eyes single. But it's not an easy task. But Yahushua, these are red letters. He says, and he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. If they want to depart from you because they don't like the restrictions, they don't like the things that you putting into play, the order, you got to let them do what they're going to do. Because he's telling you right here, if you let that happen, you're not worthy of him. He says, and he that taketh not his cross and followed after me is not worthy of me. And we can end it on that, man. Shalom.